Hello there and welcome. It is a very gloomy English autumn day, very blustery, and I'm doing a job today which I've been putting off for a while, and that is to upgrade my wiring system on my fish house racking, because at the moment it is a bit of a mess, and I have got some of these power boxes to basically tidy it up and make it a little bit more user friendly. Now these power boxes are normally used for outside. They're actually designed to go on koi or goldfish ponds, and what they allow you to do is attach your pumps, UVs and other pond accessories to them while connected to the mains, and that allows you to have easy access of all of your equipment via these waterproof buttons, and also not electrocute yourself or have any problems with your power cutting out because of water ingress into the plug socket. These units are IP56 rated, which means that basically as long as you mount them the correct way up, you're not going to get any water ingress into your electrical unit, which is probably quite a good idea if they're outside. Now these particular ones are brand new. There is an older model, but it lacks some of the features that these new ones have. At the minute, all that's available is a 3-way, but I believe there will be a 2-way, a 3-way, a 4 and a 5-way. So at the moment I'm going to be using these 3-ways because that is all that I have available to me. Now obviously I'm not using these outside, I'm using these inside for my fish tanks. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I'm in a shed, so a little bit of water protection is probably a good thing, especially if my roof caves in. Then I know that even if it rains, I should be fairly well protected. Secondly, they are just neat little units, and they will allow me to connect different things to these switches, and I can isolate individual parts of my setup. So I can have heaters and lights and things. I'll put a little label on them. If I want to turn certain things off, I know which one to press. So just a little bit neater. So let's have a look at what you get inside the Blagdon Garden Power switch box when you buy one. So obviously you get your switch box, you get some screws, wall plugs and a spare bung. You get a screwdriver, which is useful for opening the box because there are 4 screws which hold it closed. So a screwdriver is actually very useful to get inside. You have your instruction manual, and also you've got some handy little stickers which have the general things you would have on a pond. So you've got your pumps, your UVs, air pumps, lights, heaters, auxiliary things, etc. And you put these stickers in these little ovals, and then you have a very glossy manual of how to wire up one of these units. This particular unit is the 5-way on the diagram, but it would apply to all of the models. So to appreciate what it is I'm changing, I'll just show you what my current wiring is like. Now, yes, a bit of a mess, but it all works and it's all safe. However, at the moment, it's very hard to identify which plug is doing what. You know, there's just wires everywhere. Another thing I'm going to be doing is cutting some of these wires down so that they go directly from whatever they are to the power box, and then I don't have these big reams of cables just everywhere. So it's going to be neatened up. Also, I've got an extension lead going into another extension lead, and then going into another extension lead. What I'm going to do is cut out this middle extension lead. I'm going to extend the smaller extension just so it goes straight to that one over there, and that way it's just a little bit cleaner as well. Right, so now I've taken my wiring down, I need to actually have a look inside one of these and show you how they work basically. So firstly, there are 4 screws and you get a screwdriver in the box. So let's open one of these up. So once all the screws have been removed, you can then take the lid off. You can see around the edge there we've got a nice rubber seal, stopping any moisture from getting into it. Also the buttons are completely rubberized as well. Now inside we have got our input, and you can see that it is normal mains, 230 volts. We've got one 1000 and two 300 watt outputs. So quite a high wattage output on this one, and then the 300 watts, which are fairly normal ratings. You won't get much in the way of a pond equipment that's above 300 watts. Possibly things like pond heaters and things might be above that, and that's why you would use the 1000. Moving up from that, we've got our buttons, and these are obviously there to turn the relevant things on and off. We've got our fuses, and they have a very nice rubberized cover on them, and that just adds a little bit more protection to your fuses and just neatens everything up. Above that we have the LEDs. We've got a red for when they're off, and we've got another one which I think is a green for when they are turned on, and then another little feature which other companies probably wouldn't do, we've got spare fuses. Completely optional again, that Blagdon have decided to give you a spare fuse. Not just one, but they've given you a 5 amp and a 1.5 amp. And then another new feature to this particular unit, the old ones didn't have it, is an extra LED here, which lets you know when the entire unit is drawing power. So if that light is on, you know the unit is drawing power. If it's off, you know it's not. Simple as that. So I'm just going to show you what I'm planning to do here. Excuse my terrible artistry. This is going to be a very rough sketch, but I just want you to get the idea of what I'm hoping to achieve. So I have 9 things that I need to wire up. I've got 3 lights, 3 heaters, 2 power heads and a pump. Now, the thing I need to work out here is the wattage of all these different things. Now, mains power for the UK at the moment is 230 volts. And how you work out the wattage of that is volts times amps. So the maximum amp in a plug here is 13 amps. So that gives me 2,990 watts I can draw from one mains cord going to a plug socket. So that is my target. But what I have to sort out is the fact that the boxes have one 1000 watt and 2 300 watts. Now I've got heaters here which are 500 watts, so they're not going to run off the 300 watt outputs. So this is the design I'm going to use. I'm going to have my 3 boxes like that, and I'm going to have, unfortunately, to have an extension, but just the one. So I'm removing one of my extensions. Now from here, that's going to be to my mains. Now each of these have got their main supply, so I'm going to have a plug there, 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 and that's going to be going to, this is terrible drawing, that is going to be going to the mains like that, and then they're going to be drawing their main supply from there. Now out of them I've got 3 outlets, 2 of which I need to use for the heaters for the 1000 watts. So we're going to have a heater on that one, a heater on that one, and my other heater is actually 300 watts, so that's fine. So I can put my other heater on there. Now my lights, 2 of which are 250 watts, so I need to use this one here. I'll stick one on 1000 and I'll stick one on 300, and I've got another fluval light which is about 50 watts which can go on that one. Now I need them on their own thing because on this here I'm going to have a timer, which is another reason why I need this extension lead, because I need to put this timer on there. If I didn't need this timer for the lighting, then I could have probably done away with this extension lead and maybe waited a little bit longer to get one of the 4 or 5 ways, and it would have all worked a little bit okay. And then easily now I've just got a power head, and then a pump. So that is fine. And I'll just work out the total wattage for this whole thing. So there's my wattages. On this one I'm going to have around 556, that one's going to be 564, and that one's 1020. So total draw on this circuit is 2140, which is below our 2990 wattage total, so we're going to be totally fine. So it's normally going to be a lot lower than this, because I doubt everything is going to be running on that all the time. So let's have a look at how to wire one of these up. Now firstly, and you've probably already noticed this, I'm not a trained or qualified electrician, so before you actually do any of this, please consult one and get any advice and guidance you need from a professional. So to actually wire one of these up, it's quite simple and it's been designed in an easy to do way. First thing you need to do is identify the different inputs. You've got your mains and you've got your 3 outputs, or however many depending on what box you've got. And they're also colour coded inside, so you know that you are wiring up the right one to the relevant output. So first things first, you want to remove your bung, like that. And then we're going to want to go ahead and loosen up this screw and this screw so we can fit our wire through. And then a really handy feature is if you loosen this screw up, you can actually remove the entire board, pull the wire through, and then it'll be a lot easier to wire up. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Funnily enough, I found this underneath the circuit board, which is quite funny really, because you have to remove the circuit board to find the message telling you to remove the circuit board. Now once you've removed this part here, in here there is a little rubber ring. Now that ring has to go onto your cabling, because that is what ensures that it is still an IP56 rating. Without this, you risk water ingress into the fitting there. So you can see how I've got it set up. Now it's fine to pull the cable through to start with, and this is a new feature actually, because the old ones you couldn't really get this board out properly to then fit it. You had to kind of fit it within this area, and it was a real pain actually. It was a real pain and really awkward. So it's good to see that the new ones, you can take this board out, you can fit your wiring, use your handy wiring guide there. So to actually fit the wires, all you have to do is unscrew these little screws, put your cables in the right way, screw them back up. So then you have something like this. Obviously you could do the rest of your things now if you wanted to, and you just pull it back through like that, and you reseat it just over the thread there for the holding screw. Now another thing that is just a little bit extra that they've added is around this screw they've got something on there that is easy to grasp, so you can actually get the screw back into it without having to fiddle around with a magnetic screwdriver and make it so that you just get it into the thread. You can do it all with your hand. So I'm going to go ahead now and do most of the wiring, get everything ready, and I can show you how these actually attach to the wall. Well, here's the first one wired in. I've got my mains, which I have done a little short plug to, so it'll just reach up to that little extension lead there. And this is the life support one. So we've got 2 heaters, a 500 watt and a 300 watt, and then we've got our Amphibious IQ pump connected to this one. So, you know, all nicely matching brand as well, which is going to look quite neat. One thing I wanted to show you is actually the mounting brackets. So what it allows you to do is actually fix these to the wall, but then have them still removable. So on the back there's this little triangle, and that is the bracket which the mounting fixings fit into. Now on other boxes like this, what you actually have to do is drill through the back of the box and fix it to the wall that way. But of course, if it's outside and you're wanting it to be water resistant, then putting a big hole in the back of it actually will stop it being water resistant. So with this particular unit, the Blagdon version, it actually stays waterproof or water resistant, and you can fix it to the wall, and also it's easy to remove as well because it just slots on and off. Well, that took a lot longer than I was anticipating. It was actually a fairly big job, but I think you'll agree it looks a lot better. There are a lot less dangling cables. I've tidied everything up, so I've shortened all the cables on my lighting so that they only reach as far as they need to, so there's no extra bits of cabling everywhere. The only thing I haven't cut is the cable for the pump, because that cable, I don't think I can cut it, because that end I'm not able to rewire onto the cable, and the other end is attached to the pump, so that's basically all I can do with that. But I think it looks a lot neater, and if anything, even if it doesn't look neater, I think it arguably looks a lot cooler. I mean, who doesn't like lots of glowing LEDs? I'm certainly a fan. I'll just show you how the LEDs work. So you'll notice that they're all green at the moment. The top one is your mains power indicator. So when there's mains power, that is green. And when there's no mains power, I assume it is off because there's no power to power it. And then these ones, so when the thing you're powering is on, it's a green light. When it is off, it's a red light. You'll notice, that light has just gone off. And when there's no light, that means that either the whole unit has gone, or there's no mains getting to the entire unit, which you'd know because that light was off. Or if that light is on, but that light is off, you know that it's probably the fuse that's gone inside of the box. So you can do a little bit of circuit diagnosis just from what lights are on and what lights are off. But I am very tired. That took a long time, not because it's actually hard to do, but because one, I hate wiring. I really hate wiring. Two, I'm not very good at wiring, especially when it comes to cutting ends off and then making the 3 wires fit into the holes. Oh, I hate it so much. And just a little tip as well, when you're actually rewiring these things, make sure to put these caps back on before you put the cable through and attach it to the circuit board, because I managed to do it not only once but twice, where I rewired the entire circuit board and then realised I hadn't put the caps on, so I had to undo it all and then redo it. And I didn't want to catch it on camera because there was a bit of swearing. Anyway, I am happy with how it looks. I'm happy with how it works. Obviously, if you want to do something like this yourself, then go ahead and grab some of these power boxes. They'd be very useful. In fact, if you have a sump for a marine tank or a tropical tank, you could do what I've done. So have one mains in and then tidy up all of your sump equipment, so like your skimmers, your heaters, everything that's in there, and just have it running off this box. And that way, it's safer if there's a flood, if your tank springs a leak, if it's dripping onto that, it's not going to blow your fuse box. If it was just a normal extension, you'd have problems, but in one of those boxes it's safer. And obviously use it for a pond, because that's what they're really designed for, and that's to go outside and connect up all your pond equipment to. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has been entertaining. It's a bit different to what I normally do. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, please remember to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thanks for watching and happy fish keeping.